So this is 23:15 hours GMT, which is the time this item is going online, going live, but it's actually the edition is timed for 23:20 hours GMT. It's 5 minutes difference, but both are on the record. The amazing thing is that one of the one of the things that Boris Johnson's father, Stanley Johnson, persistently boasted about was that Boris Johnson, his biological son, was very intelligent and very clever. And he said that not once, not twice, he said that dozens of times on the record. Secondly, Boris Johnson himself cultivated corruptly, craftily, and dishonestly cultivated a persona or a personality, an image for himself that showed that he was extraordinarily clever and intelligent. And comments by even his so-called critics, like Sylvie Berman of France, the former French ambassador to the United Kingdom, said in her interview published by the Times newspaper that Boris Johnson was clever, but he was a congenital liar. Now, this pair of newspapers, the Daily Mail and the Daily Express of Monday, leading the front pages with despairing splashes. Let's just see what their front page is saying so that we can get it absolutely right. Let's see what they're saying. The front page of the Daily Express of Monday, the 21st of November 2022 reads, "Fury at, within quotation marks, absurd idea to go soft on Brexit." That's the Daily Express. The Daily Mail following that is, "Don't betray us on Brexit." After shock claims UK could seek closer European Union ties, Tories warn, "Don't betray us on Brexit." And the Sun, the Daily Mirror, the Sun is not anywhere near Brexit. It's talking about something else. It's in Qatar in the World Cup, and so is the Daily Star, and so is the Metro. Now, the Sunday Times of today was talking about the Swiss-style relationship between the UK and Brussels. It says Britain mulls Swiss-style ties with Brussels. Now, this is not something that any of them would have said was possible, but we said all along, those of us who said that Brexit was a lunacy, because Brexit was being used by the loons in the Conservative Party to find a pretext to have a go at each other. There was no rational reason for Brexit at all. And so it is proving, and it had to be proved. It had to prove so because the European Union membership, unlike the Brexiteers' claim, was not primarily about a political union. It might have been seen as such because of the various areas of agreements that various European Union member states had about various issues. But it wasn't a move to unite Europe in the way that the Brexiteers said it was. So, for example, here is the Sunday Times front page. You can only see the so the Sunday Times, the leader, is a paywalled access to the page. So we haven't got the paywalled access breaking subscription. So we can read only the bits that are accessible. Britain mulls Swiss style ties with Brussels. The government believes EU relations are thawing and could lead to frictionless trade. Now, this is something to do with trade, essentially, which is what the European Union membership was to begin with, because that's how the Economic Union, European EEC, had begun. So this is the coming to realization that the Brexiteers are a bunch of loons. I mean, when the Brexiteers campaign was fronted by the loons like Marc Francois, I mean, he was a complete and utter personification of a joke. Marc Francois, for heaven's sake. Jacob Rees-Mogg. So on. So this had to be exposed as a sham, and the complete fraudster liar, nasty Nigel Farage, and assorted other loons. So it is coming to be exposed as that. So we shall be talking about this not just in this edition, but in other editions. What it shows is that Boris Johnson knew that. But being a congenital liar, he lied. And he lied about his knowledge that Brexit was a disaster. He wanted the crown, he wanted the position of leadership of the Conservative Party and the post of Prime Minister by that kind of act, that route. So he would lie any way he could lie. And he lied mainly about the NHS being kind of robbed of millions of pounds every week by the European Union membership. And he lied most dangerously. Boris Johnson lied most dangerously, racistly, in an anti-Muslim way, by spreading the most lethal incitement to hatred that could be devised in words, saying that Turkey was poised to take over the European Union if Britain didn't leave the European Union, and if Brexit didn't happen, then the Turks would take over the British Isles as well. Nothing could be further from the truth, because The Turkish equation never worked. It never added up because Turkey is not only not wanted by the racists like the Johnson and others of the UK, but Turkey is also opposed by most of the European Union member states because of their own anti-Muslim agenda, history, and so on. So Turkey was never even on the list of becoming a potential applicant to join the European Union. But that didn't matter because as long as the line could be thrown into the public arena, the Turkey was going to take over. That line worked miracles and it delivered Brexit with that 4% kind of majority number. 48% for the European Union membership to be continued by Britain, and 52% for withdrawing from the European Union. And Turkey is not a member state that is even eligible to apply for European Union membership. So this is another exhibition, another demonstration of the lies of which the Conservatives are made, Boris Johnson is made, and all the Brexiteers are made. And the Daily Express, of course, and the Daily Mail are made. What does it mean? It means that everything else they make, every other decision they make about their domestic UK policy, UK behavior, must be seen as seriously flawed and seriously defective. So it follows that the years of conspiracy of lies, defamation, demonization against the baby angel Geronimo, those lies and conspiracies and those kind of plots were hatched by the very same people who hatched Brexit. They are incapable of telling the truth. And baby angel Geronimo is the truth. Baby angel Geronimo has been the most beautiful, healthiest baby angel Geronimo on the face of the earth. And these criminals, Brexiteers, targeted the baby angel Geronimo in order to find some fault in the health of the baby angel Geronimo, the healthy baby angel Geronimo. And baby angel Geronimo always knew and has known that they were lying against him. And they were lying against him as they were lying against others affected by their decisions. All the Brexiteers. Now, what does it make Rishi Sunak? Rishi Sunak appeared on the Joe Coburn slot on the BBC Two politics, daily politics slot during the, let's say, months to the Brexit referendum in 2016. And he was absolutely loyal to the Brexiteers, and he was a Brexiteer. Now, his regime, the regime that he fronts as the Prime Minister now, is the one that is admitting that relations with the European Union are thawing. I mean, you couldn't have a higher, in terms of the hierarchy of the state, higher political post than the post of Prime Minister. And the Brexiteer, so-called Rishi Sunak, occupying the post of Prime Minister, is now admitting, letting kind of this line emerge from his political HQ, the number 10 Downing Street. that relations could be resumed with the European Union in order to get the trade going. Remember the trade? The fantasist liar Boris Johnson said that once Brexit was within quotation done, trade with Australia, which is 10, 12,000 miles away, would be like a piece of cake. Trade with the USA would be like a piece of cake. Trade with the rest of the world would be like a piece of cake. Trade with the huge market in India would be like a piece of cake. They could not be. They can never be. They could never be because they were physically, geographically completely impossible targets, impossible kind of dreams. The European Union was the opposite. It was at home next door. And most of the European Union countries are next door to the UK in terms of commerce, in terms of market, in terms of transport, in terms of people coming to work in the UK. And the serious, genuine sadness that thousands of people who came from European Union countries to work in the UK as a EU member state were very sad to have to go and leave as a result of Brexit. And everything they said is coming true and had to be coming true. So the decisions that are made by the UK state agencies like DEFRA are completely unfit for purpose, and the statements issued by in the name of the government are absolutely patently untrue and untruthful, and they are costly and they are unrepresentative, unhelpful to the people. And the main reason why the majority of the NHS and other public utilities and sectors are not being delivered to the people, the main reason is not because there is shortage of money, but the main reason is the sense of accountability to the people, the sense of service to the people that are owed the service and the accountability. That sense has always been absent. And that is to do with the conservative criminal ideology of denying the existence of society and denying, therefore, the existence of society-based obligations and care and concern. Now, for a brief period, let's fly over to Pakistan and look at the situation. The Long March is not far from Islamabad. It's nearly 250 miles long, and people are walking, marching from all over the country and heading for Islamabad. And this is something that is happening in an unprecedented way in the history of the 75 years since August 1947. What is now Pakistan? When I say what is now Pakistan, I mean the East Pakistan that was there until the 16th of December 1971, which is now Bangladesh. That was included. East Pakistan was included in the journey, in the contextual journey for delivering to the people the fruits of independence from the British colony and British Empire. That journey began in August, 14th of August in the case of Pakistan, 1947. And a day later, 15th of August, in the case of India. Contextually, that journey has never really actually began in terms of delivering the service. And the slogan that what is the purpose of Pakistan? Put in Urdu, Pakistan ka matlab kya? That slogan being heard and shouted right across the long march that is ongoing right now, this minute, and at the jalsas and the rallies that took place over the last few months. That purpose has been briefly answered as being La ilaha illallah. That is the kalima, and that goes to the actual manifesto. The manifesto that was uttered and articulated by the Prophet Muhammad himself. So, according to Imran Khan's manifesto now, the Pakistan, the Hakiki Azadi, the true independence movement, is about delivering the country, the society, the manifesto that includes the manifesto of the Prophet and includes the manifesto for freedom from servitude, slavery, and subjugation. And Imran Khan has only mentioned the two thinkers. One is Muhammad Iqbal and the other is Muhammad Ali Jinnah. Of course, Imran Khan has left out the main leaders of East Pakistan, and that I think he will soon realize that he made a mistake. It wasn't something that he could sustain. Whatever the reason, the purpose of Pakistan remains absolutely correctly stated by the Kalima. And that was another reason why the Kalima is important, because in his paraphrasing of the leader of the country, Quaid-e-Azam Muhammad Ali Jinnah, Imran Khan has said that we don't want to free ourselves, become independent from the British colonialists, and then become dependent, the servant, the slaves of the Hindus. That was the purpose of Pakistan, as put by Imran Khan. And I think the fact that the absolute majority of the people taking part in the march and also in the rallies, in the jalsas, have unequivocally echoed that shows that there is absolutely no problem in convincing the people that that is what it is, that that is what it should be, and that is what must be brought about in Pakistan. And that bringing about or that purpose can only be done by a democratic election, for which the march is now the main pressure. That there must be a free and fair election in Pakistan. That's number one. Number two is that Imran Khan has said in the last 24 hours that he doesn't believe that the court system in Pakistan is capable of delivering justice and fairness. And he's saying that that is the reason why he's planning to travel to the USA, to travel to the UK, and other Western kind of jurisdictions, where he is going to sue, institute litigation, seeking justice over many of the unjust things that have been done against him, against the Tehreek-e-Insaf and others. Now, that is something that he has only announced. It is not something that has already happened. This process will take quite a while to actually get going. But the fact that he has said that is connected with the fact that he doesn't have any confidence in the judiciary in Pakistan, despite the fact that there are some exceptionally honest members of the judiciary, but they are not in the majority. And the other thing is that the majority of the judiciary in Pakistan, as it is, are in the pockets of the ruling corrupt cabal. the Zardaris and the Sharifs, Nawaz Sharif's family and the Zardari families are the ones that control the loyalty of the judicial bureaucracy in Pakistan. So Imran Khan, for that reason, he is being forced to seek justice and just kind of adjudications from jurisdictions in the USA and in the UK and other probably jurisdictions. He has not published the complete list, but those are the two countries that are the jurisdictions that he has spelled out. Now back to the London Borough of Tower Hamlets. Anyone watching this for the last 3 years since we began would have noticed that we are focused on the corrupt behavior of the London Borough of Tower Hamlets Council. That is general. Specifically about the council's failures, negligence towards these 3 girls from Bethnal Green, Shamima Begum and her 2 other friends. We have said all along that it was Tower Hamlets Council that failed, that it was Tower Hamlets Council that neglected, that it was Tower Hamlets Council that showed contempt towards the needs of these children for safeguarding. To this day, which is 20th of November 2022, there has been no public statement by Tower Hamlets Council, either during the 6 years that the racist John Biggs was in post as mayor, nor since the 5th of May 2022, when Lutfur Rahman resumed the incumbency of the post as mayor, nor during Lutfur Rahman's years before the 23rd of April 2015, when he was in post. Now, looking back at the events that are accessible, the records and the statements made by members of the Tower Hamlets Council, including especially somebody that was reportedly quite instrumental in organizing the campaign for Lutfur Rahman's election, an individual called Ghulam Rabbani. Now, Ghulam Rabbani was a councillor, not a councillor anymore, I don't think. Ghulam Rabbani was a councillor for the Spitalfields area, Brick Lane area. Now, Ghulam Rabbani is on the record as having very significantly referred to the concept of safeguarding the children. Now, this is the first time we have researched and found any member of the Tower Hamlets Council even using the phrase safeguarding the children. But Ghulam Rabbani wasn't using the phrase at all about these Shamima Begum or her friends. Because Ghulam Rabbani spoke at the council meeting on the 20th of July 2016, when the racist liar John Biggs gave a long excuse denying any responsibility by the council owed to the victim of the racist murder, Shiblur Rahman, and the responsibility owed about the appointment of one of Shiblur Rahman's murderers, racist killers, let's say, who was given a rehabilitation job by a special needs school called Ian Mikado School. Ghulam Rabbani said that position being given to Ian Mikado School by Ian Micado's school to Ian Devlin was in breach of the council's safeguarding children duties or connected with the council's safeguarding children duties. I'm paraphrasing him, but I can find the quotation and give the quotation at another time. But that is what Ghulam Rabbani was meaning. There was another contribution from Shahid Ali. Shahid Ali is no longer councillor, but at that time, on the 20th of July 2015, he was a councillor and he spoke as well about Taramras Council's failures. In his kind of amendment to John Biggs's spiel, Councillor Oliver Rahman made a number of points, but he didn't make a coherently joined up statement. He made a critical statement, but he didn't do a coherently joined up statement. In her speech, Rabina Khan made a typically dishonest and ill-informed kind of reference. Now, why do these racists keep giving plugs to this liar Rabina Khan? She never tells the truth. I think they think, the racists, that being a Muslim woman with a kind of appearance of a headscarf, not quite a hijab, but appearance of a wearing headscarf, Rabina Khan comes across as an exotic sort of kind of thing, that a Muslim woman can actually take part in what appears to be politics. But Rabina Khan is a disgrace. She lies, full stop. She didn't condemn John Biggs. She didn't condemn the Taramras Council. And she didn't condemn the speech that John Biggs made. She praised the contribution both in the council chamber and also outside of a local councillor called Hilaluddin. And she praised the contribution after Shibli Rahman was murdered, made by Khalisuddin, who is a local councillor in the Bo area at the time. So that is what Rabina Khan does. She diverts. Now the cost of Rabina Khan's lying, or cost of the damages, detriment, and losses caused to the community, to individuals, because of Rabina Khan's lying, are absolutely enormous. As for the role of Alibor Chaudhry, not on that occasion, but Alibor Chaudhry spoke at a cabinet meeting in July, probably the 9th of July 2014. That was just a year short, few months short of the year before he and Lutfur Rahman were banned by Election Commissioner Richard Morey. Now, Alibor Chaudhry was kind of pumped by Lutfur Rahman to deliver Lutfur Rahman's denial and lies in reply to my questions. And my questions were about the dishonesty and lying in the decision making in the council. The same thing I made known in the council in my statement on the 20th of July, 20th of July 2015, when Biggs had come into the post. This is consistent with the evidence. And Alibor Chaudhry started by saying, with the greatest of respect to Mr. Haque, I disagree with his premise. Now, this was not Alibor Chaudhry's spontaneous statement. It was well rehearsed and it was written by somebody else. Now, Alibor Chaudhry himself admitted to me that he had lied for years about Tower Hamlets Council and especially about Colin Cormack. So for him to say, and for me to find it again on the 9th of July 2014, that he disagreed with my premise is a very, very risky ambition. He could never fulfill that ambition because the realities of Tower Hamlets Council's behavior are such that there was no basis for anyone, Lutfur Rahman, Alibar Chaudhry, or anyone else to say that they could disagree with my premise. Now, in addition to that, when Richard Morey issued the condemnation of Alibar Chaudhry on the 23rd of April 2015, he put paid to all the pretensions that Lutfur Rahman and Alibar Chaudhry could ever make in their whole lives, that they could disagree with Muhammad Haque's premise. Let's find that reference to Alibar Chaudhry as contained in the ruling by Richard Morey, dated the 23rd of April 2015. Let's see. So this is the one that Richard Morey made reference to Alibar Chaudhry. There are several references to Luthraman and Alibar Chaudhry together. And let me just and Alibar Chaudhry and Luthraman are condemned by Richard Morey, the election commissioner, as two liars. This is very important. Now, I had nothing to do with the election petition against Luthraman. I didn't go to the hearing. I only went outside of the Royal Courts of Justice on the day that the Morey ruling was published. And it was the various references to Alibar Chaudhry are made in such a way that both of them should be ashamed of themselves for bringing such disrepute to themselves, and to have done that while they were acting in publicly elected positions. The two of them were completely condemned as dishonest liars. So, if that is the case, if that is the evidence that Luthraman and Alibar Chaudhry were liars on the evidence, how dare Alibar Chaudhry say that with the greatest of respect, he, Alibar Chaudhry, disagrees with Mr. Haque's premises? What does he understand of the word premises either, or premise? But it is very significant that he did that, because in his statement to me, which he made without any prompting from me, about what Colin Cormac had done, Alibar Chaudhry admitted that Colin Cormac never wanted to do the job. And secondly, in saying that, Alibar Chaudhry was saying that he, Alibar Chaudhry, had been lying to me for years and years and years. Now, I had said to him, every time I had a communication contact with Alibar Chaudhry, who was acting as he claimed he was acting on behalf of Luthraman, on behalf of Luthraman as the mayor. I didn't ask for Alibar Chaudhry to be in touch with me, in contact with me. It was Alibar Chaudhry got in touch with me time after time after time after time, dozens of times over the period of, say, let's say, October 2010 up to the 23rd of April 2015. And every statement that Ali Bur Chaudhry made, every promise that he made of passing on my complete and utter rejection of Lutfur Rahman, as he was being represented by Ali Bur Chaudhry on each occasion about each aspect of the corruption, criminality, and lying on the part of the council as well as on the part of Lutfur Rahman. I made absolutely no secret of the fact that I found Lutfur Rahman behaving contemptuously with contemptible lying and dishonesty and incompetence and disregard and unfitness for purpose to be in that post. So, what we have here in the return of Lutfur Rahman to the post of elected mayor at the expense of Tower Hamlets, following the 5th of May 2022 so-called election, is the resumption of the career of a, for want of a better phrase, congenital liar, Lutfur Rahman. I'll give an example. When I filmed Lutfur Rahman and about 5 of his kind of companions at the time, let's say, at one point, while my camera, or the film, if you like, was rolling, Lutfur Rahman can be seen literally running away from the scene of the particular crime that he was committing. What was the crime that he was committing? Lutfur Rahman was, let's say, caught in the act of trying to make an entry into the premises of Clifton Enterprises that were fronted by Hrs Haque. Hrs Haque was the man who was widely known in the community in Brick Lane area in Tower Hamlets as having wanted to be an elected mayor. Hrs was not working with the IFE at all. Hrs was working for his own agenda so that with an elected mayor in his pocket, Hrs could pocket the main profits of the Brick Lane Mela, Boishaki Mela. That was the word. And on that date, the 29th of October 2010, when I filmed Lutfur Rahman coming out of the Brick Lane Mosque on that Friday, Hrs Haque was very much in control of the various things that Lutfur Rahman was going to do or have to do for him. So it was a very hectic, very live relationship between Hrs and Lutfur Rahman on the 29th of October 2010. So I stood at the corner of the Osborne Street and Old Montague Street with my Sony DCR 58 camcorder, purchased for the campaign with the contribution by the participant in the campaign against Crossrail by K. Jordan, either at the end of April 2010 or the first day or second day of May 2010, in preparation for recording the election campaign that was underway. So that was the Sony DCR 58, SR 58 that I was using, as I had it on the roll, aimed at Lutfur Rahman and his crew. All I had to do was to stand with that camera or camcorder on. And Lutfur Rahman and his crew were literally kind of melting, fragmenting. They couldn't stand still and they couldn't run, and yet they needed to run away. But everything they did within the range of the camera is on film. Now, why would they even care about the fact that they were being filmed near the entrance to that shop front that Siraj ran from the old Montague Street at that date? Why? Why is the nervousness? There was Lutfur Rahman, and there was this man from Bangla Town shop, also colloquially known as Dolai. He has got an exotic name, but Dolai is the name that he is known by in the community. He's a recent arrival comparatively. So Dolai was one of the main supporters of the elected mayor project. So Dolai was there with his cap and a muffler around his neck, and there was Lutfur Rahman. There was this strange element that I had never seen physically, who was there with a baseball bat hat on his head. And there was the doctor from Habiganj, Dr. Hifzur Rahman or Hafizur Rahman from Habiganj. Now, if there was a raconteur anywhere in the Siloti-speaking community, people don't know the communities inside. And if there was a raconteur that could really entertain a group of people for at least half an hour with his anecdotes and his tales, I would say Hifzur Rahman, who sadly no longer around, he passed away following a cardiac arrest not few months after, I think, the election of Lutfur Rahman the first time. This was Hifzur Rahman. Now, he fancied himself as a doctor. For some reason, he was not a doctor of any kind. But before he came to the United Kingdom, which was not very long ago, Hifzur Rahman styled himself as doctor. Most people in his acquaintance knew him as doctor, out of amusement, out of entertainment, not because of anyone seriously believing that he was a doctor. But it was a harmless kind of name that people kindly accepted for him. So there was Hifzur Rahman. Now, he was the one that before Lutfur Rahman came out of the Brick Lane Mosque, Hifzur Rahman was the one who actually spotted me, camera at the ready, and he couldn't control himself. He could not laugh out loud, and he could not laugh. Because knowing me, Hifzur Rahman knew what I was doing there. And he was there not with me, but he was there as one of the chaperones of the newly elected Lutfur Rahman. So Hifzur Rahman, as you can see in the actual film, is struggling very hard to contain his laughter. He would have burst out if he could, but he couldn't. He had to be very, very hard on himself. And he stayed firmly shut, but his face told the tale. Now, Hrs Rahman and another one with a bald head, whom I know personally, but I don't know his name. He has been one of Shirajul Haq's kind of associates, let's say. And he and Hifzur Rahman were instructed by a very nervous Lutfur. Whatever Lutfur said to them, he said to them a kind of message to tell Shiraz that Lutfur Rahman couldn't at that point make an entry into his premises because of something else was happening, and that else was Muhammad Haque filming them. Now, this is not the first time that I have done this, filming Lutfur Rahman. I filmed him on the 15th of February 2011. That was a few months after this. But this was, I think, the most significant little few seconds of Lutfur Rahman's life and career that actually sums up the crimes that Lutfur Rahman has committed and would commit at that date, would commit, and the crimes that have caused the maximum losses to the community and maximum losses to humanity. Because I have been doing nothing. I have been doing absolutely nothing as seriously, as consistently, and as confidently as I've been doing documentary work, recording the events and correctly recording them. Now, anyone is welcome to visit the actual film, which I'll post in due course. But I'm introducing that few minutes of the film, and those minutes contain evidence of a very nervous Lutfur Rahman. Neither the SWP Wonkers, nor George Git Galloway, nor Ken Lying Still Livingston, not Keith Sleaze Vaz, none of his white racist masters or kind of advisors, none of his brainwashers in the East London Mosque, as Abbas Elias Halal said. None of them had the slightest idea what I did. And what I did was absolutely world-class, unique summary of Lutfur Rahman. You can see that Lutfur Rahman is completely unable to not smile, unable to not look glum either. And he was physically on the run from the scene. So I did that for humanity, this record of Lutfur Rahman in the old Montague Street. So we are going to call this one a short. This is the program that we are concluding at not 13 hours GMT on Monday the 21st of November 2022, and we shall continue with the rest of the updates.